What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Absolute Batman issue number 19. This one is written, of course, by Scott Snyder with artwork by Nick Dragotta. And this issue is also our introduction to the Absolute Universe version of the Scarecrow. There's a big character death from the Batman mythos that happens in this. And there's also kind of a crazy revelation going back to Bruce's past. And I genuinely really like this issue. So this is they call him the Straw Man, but I guess this is going to be the Absolute Universe version of the Scarecrow. You see his face is all distorted and all that, but he seems to have some sort of, I don't know if he's like maybe the chemicals in like his cigarettes or something, or these little crows that are falling around, or what kind of passes on like maybe some sort of pathogen to cause people to kind of like see some of their biggest fears and just go kind of crazy. But that might be the case, or perhaps he's a metahuman. But basically it opens up with him just kind of walking, and he kind of like almost seems to plant the idea, or maybe he kind of revealed that so-and-so is cheating on like the other best friends, like with their wife or something, and then it leads to them killing each other, and then there's a big explosion, and he just kind of like walks through in the face of death. So that's our intro to the Straw Man. Meanwhile, we see that Batman kind of upgraded his own little vehicle, so he doesn't have the giant monster tank. He has this like cool looking vehicle. I know the Harley Quinn and the Red Hood gang are calling it the Bat Nasty, and he's really against the idea. Alfred gives it an idea too, but it's a much, more sleek, more easily like movable like vehicle with the tires and all that too. So I thought that was kind of cool. So he's working around the city. Bruce is kind of just more so Batman the full time and doesn't really have much of a connection, it seems, with people as much as he did before. He also has a brief conversation with Wayland. We can see that the artifact that he was given by Wonder Woman to give to him seems to kind of be turning him a little bit more like human than he was before. And there's a nice moment where they kind of hug and embrace one another, and Wayland's like, all right, now I'm starting to change back, let's go get those ones who did all these wrongdoings to us, let's take them out as like a team. And Batman's like, no, I can't have anybody on my side, and goodbye, Wayland. And he's still like friends, but like Wayland's just really angry, and maybe because he's pushing people away, that's gonna bring them into perhaps like push them into like villainy, or perhaps they're gonna force Bruce's hand to kind of agree like, no, they need to let them in or something like that too. So that's interesting. Also, we see Bruce's bail, like flashback to the stuff where him and like basically he ripped off Falcone, and his bail keeps getting like raised up, but he uses this as an excuse to kind of beat up more of Falcone's men. Somebody eventually kind of like pays his bail and all that at some point too. There's also a big moment in this issue, and this one really caught me off guard, unless it's going to be a ruse somewhere else, but it's the Absolute Universe. They kind of do more of like what they want to do with it and not have to worry much about the consequences of main canon. But what happens here is Jim Gordon has a conversation with Batman where he calls him Mr. Gordon, and it's very reminiscent of classic Batman and Gordon stuff on a rooftop talking. But then he finds these files and he wants to kind of burn them, and you see something called Project Batman, where it's implied that perhaps the Joker in this universe, Jack Grimm, is responsible for the creation of Batman. All you see is a little like code word that says zoo in there. So yeah, Jack Grimm, which they show he's kind of on TV, like kind of like laying the seeds and foundations for his criminal activities, like getting ready to kind of like lay claim over some stuff in Gotham. And Gordon, like while he's kind of there, he sets these things on fire, catches his coat on fire. We also see those like crow things kind of show up, and he's like, don't read it, and then he kind of jumps off and he tries to save him, and then Jim Gordon dies, and then everyone kind of sees it and they're like, Batman killed that guy, which I don't know if this is a nod or something to it, but it very much reminds me of Batman Returns, where Batman's trying to save the princess, like or whatever, and like Penguin does like long dart and kind of like throws her, and she falls off the building, and then the extras are like, hey, Batman pushed the princess. I don't know, just made me think of that. But you can see that the Straw Man is kind of off in the distance, and there's kind of a moment where Batman kind of glances at him. You see him with the cigarette and all that too. I like his design, like the mask and all that too. I think that looks pretty cool. But yeah, there's also a moment in the past where Gordon's trying to keep Bruce away from like Falcone, and Falcone is like, I know you guys ripped me off, but this debt's not this debt that's owed, it's not just gonna be yours, it's gonna be Selena's too, unless you get in the car with me or something like that. So he goes off, and Gordon's like, please don't do it, no. So you got that going on there. Bruce is feeling guilt over what happened. Barbara obviously is distraught over what happened to her father. And then we see Mayor Hill, who is just kind of being like bullshitting. He's like, oh yeah, Jim and I were great pals and everything, I'm really sorry about it. Like, like weeping in public, but really he just didn't like the guy. And then of course this leads to the arrival of Slade Wilson, who is announcing the Robin program, where the Robins are going to be used basically as like a team to take down the Batman. And the ones, you know, it's all funded and trained by Jack Graham himself. So it's like a twisted, you know, Jack Graham's kind of behind like everything, like it seems, in this whole like absolute universe Batman timeline stuff. So you got Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown, Duke Thomas, Jason Todd, and Dick Grayson are being put together as this team trained by like Slade and Jack Graham, the Joker, to like be a task force to be used against Batman. So crazy revelations, a lot of stuff happens in this thing. So really solid artwork, a cool introduction for the Absolute Universe and the Scarecrow. This is a definitely like must read in terms of the Absolute Batman titles. I think it's one of the strongest issues of the run, in my humble opinion. A lot of stuff's going on there and laying the foundation with some crazy reveals too about the Joker being partially responsible for this whole thing. And it makes me start to wonder, with the Absolute like universe version of the Joker, I think maybe Darkseid told him about the mainline universe and how like a Joker can't really exist without like Batman per se. And so now Joker is kind of aware maybe of the multiverse, and he's doing his own kind of twisted versions of like these characters and kind of changing things like in the past and such to kind of like make way for his own creation to like have his own arch rival or something like that. I don't exactly know, but I feel like maybe the Joker is knowledgeable of these things, so he's taking things within the Batman mythos that we know and kind of changing them a little bit to kind of fit his own evil personal goals or something like that. It could be something along the lines of that, but yeah, so the Joker is seemingly having a hand in Batman's creation with the stuff in the Project Batman thing. I think it's kind of interesting. It's fascinating. It's a different thing from the mainline universe. Now, not to say that we haven't had Joker involved in Batman's origin and other takes of Batman before. I mean, Batman 1989, the famous example where Jack Napier turns into the Joker, but he was responsible for killing, you know, Bruce's parents in the past. So in a way, they were responsible for creating each other, which works in that standalone capacity. But now that we're kind of involved in the Absolute Universe, where, you know, things are kind of twisted on their heads for the most part, I think, yeah, it could lead to some pretty exciting stuff. And generally shocked that they killed off Jim Gordon like that so soon. I mean, we're only 19 issues in, but yeah, that was a pretty brutal way. And maybe this is how Batgirl, you know, Barbara Gordon becomes Batgirl, becomes a little bit of a antagonistic towards Batman, or perhaps like antagonistic towards the Robins. Slade training them, that's kind of unique and interesting, and them just being a task force team. I guess they're gonna get like mech suits or something. I haven't seen the stuff, but that's what I kind of heard going into this thing, so that'll be unique to see what they do with that. And yeah, a lot of twists and turns, cool stuff, good artwork, and a pretty exciting issue nevertheless. But anyways, what did you all think of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to your channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all that fun stuff. And I'm all caught up just in time for new comic book day tomorrow, so look forward to more videos. All right, well, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.